I think I have found the best weight loss strategy, weight loss maintenance type strategy that I have ever tried to figure out in my entire life. Now, I'm just turned 51 years old. I had a birthday this week. I ate off my typical plan, and I expected to have some particular situations happen afterwards as a result of what I ate. But so far, doing this diet and doing this diet the way I'm doing it, not how everybody else does it. I do my diet my way, just like you should do your diet your way. But I think where everything started taking off for me is when I started removing everything. I focused on removing mainly products. I started getting away from the whole notion and idea that I needed a magical pill, I needed a shot, I needed to listen to certain people in order to figure this out. I figured all of this out on my own. And then once I got to certain points, or I might have hit a wall, I started researching things using other people's advice, but other people's advice that found it useful through their own experience. And then I tried that, and sometimes it worked, and sometimes it didn't. But that's where the variation is between person to person, especially considering the damage I have done to my body over the years could be different than what that person did to theirs, and also what we ate to get there, and the type of situations we put ourselves in order to figure out how to lose weight in the first place or get morbidly obese. Because technically, I could be considered an expert as to how to be morbidly obese, because I did it for so many years. You know, a good 30 years of my life, I was over 300 pounds, and now I'm down below 300 pounds, and I've been staying there with literally no effort, no exercise. The exercise I do get is very minimal. The majority of my exercise that I could, possibly consider is at work, and I'm just a commercial truck driver. All right, let's get back into the birthday and what I did on my birthday. We spent the day together for the most part. We had to take her Jeep Wrangler into the shop to get the transmission fixed. I took this Jeep down to the stereo shop. We got the auto start and the key fob installed within about 15 minutes. Thank you, Perfectionist Auto. Perfectionist Auto Sound. I believe that's the name of the company. Amazing guys. They do awesome work. It took them like 10 minutes. They pulled the Jeep in, came back out, had a new antenna installed. Now I got a great product. I don't have to run outside to start my vehicle in the morning. I just hit the buttons. Plus all the door locks. It's nice. It's really nice having an auto start living in Alaska. Even in the summertime, it's just nice to have everything that works on a little key fob. But if you know, you know. Anyhow, we spent the day together after that, and then she took off to run some errands. And while she was out, she was at Subway, and I just said, okay, just go ahead and get me whatever you're having, and I'll just have that. That was an interesting twist to everything, because I haven't had a Subway sandwich in a long time. Now, Subway was a place that I used to use a long time ago, because of Gerald, I think it is, that guy that used to supposedly lose weight by eating Subway sandwiches. And I was just kind of inclined like, okay, I'm a fat guy. I'll eat Subway sandwiches. I'll probably lose weight. Well, that's where the problem lies, is that, for one, the buns or the breading they use doesn't necessarily work well for weight loss unless you're getting out and walking and exercise and going to the gym and such like that. Another thing I found out right off the bat, because she got I think it was a steak and cheese with the, what's that kind of bread? It's like a cheesy type bread. And I wasn't going to be fussy. It's my birthday. So I went ahead and I ate that. But the one thing I noticed right off the bat that I was having problems with the sandwich, it was the sauce. So it was like some spicy type sauce that was put on the sandwich. And I never noticed this before, because when I was eating previous junk food in life, just everything under the sun, products, stuff that comes in a box, sometimes sugary cereals, high fructose this, high fructose that. Sometimes in our sauces, we get high fructose corn syrup. Well, I don't know what was in this sauce. I wasn't even worried about the sugar content or the carbs from the bread at that point. I was like, what is that? Like, it was gross. The sauce itself, obviously, to me, right away, I could identify that it had some sort of seed oil in there, like vegetable or soy. Who knows? Who knows what was in there? And I was like, well, thankfully, this is only going to be a short-term day because it's my birthday. I was just like, not doing that anymore. So this is what we talk about in the carnivore community, keto community, whatever type of weight loss community, about removing stuff for a period of time, a long time, and then adding stuff back in. Maybe try things that you used to do in the past, like go to Subway. Hey, try a Subway sandwich now after you've been doing carnivore for 6 months, and then see if that's anything that's tasty to you. Chances are it's not gonna be. So later on that evening, I decided to order one of my favorite pizzas from Papa John's Pizza. That's the Tuscan 6-cheese pizza. Now, this is a pizza that I used to eat prior, and I was also losing weight at that time. But at that time, I was doing a lot of exercising. I was also doing a different type job, working for a pharmacy, where I was in and out of the car, delivering stuff into people's houses, medications, medical equipment, setting up medical devices in patients' homes. But I was more active. And I think the activity level has a lot to do with my current weight at that time, which was pretty similar to what I look like right now. But I was very unhealthy at that time because I was also eating a lot of other stuff at that same time. And I was still under the mindset that I have to force in a lot of vegetables like broccoli, kale, spinach, like raw spinach at times. I was making these green smoothie energy drinks in the morning with kale and a bunch of other stuff and, fruits and stuff mixed in there in a blender, like one of those little bullet blenders. And then I would drink that, but I never felt good. I was still having diarrhea at that time. I was still having weird constipation bouts. I couldn't figure out what was going on inside my gut until I actually started doing this weight loss journey of just doing flat out remove everything, just remove it all. Fasting was one of the things that I took up right away. That's what started my weight loss journey in the first place. Was I learned how to fast, which is basically eliminating all food, just drinking water, having some electrolytes, and maybe focusing on some vitamins while you're doing your fasting. Unsustainable, in my opinion, as per my doctor, which we talked, and my doctor's all for everything I've been doing up to this point because he's watched my transformation. He's curious every time I come into the doctor's office and he sees, hey, wow, you're looking great. You're staying great. Are you exercising? One of his favorite questions is, how's your poop? Because the carnivore diet does change your poop a little bit, but it doesn't change it in a bad way like plants did. Plants was very inconsistent when I was eating a lot of plants and I was under the mindset, I have to eat a salad type stuff. Well, the problem I have with salad is vegetables taste horrible, and vegetables have a lot of fiber. They also have a lot of oxalates, and the oxalates was causing a problem. They were creating kidney stones in my gut. That was huge. That was a big deal. I had kidney stones now. At that time when I got the kidney stones, I didn't know what they were from, didn't know anything about oxalates. Now, when I heard the word keto means nothing to the average person. It's just keto. You see keto products on the shelf, they're usually higher priced. And again, they're products. When you read the ingredients on a lot of these keto products, they're all a bunch of bullcrap. They say keto on the package. You read the ingredients and you find a lot of really not keto type stuff on there. And it really confuses people when they're trying to do something like a keto diet. So even if you're doing that, I avoid products at all cost. I just stay away from anything that says keto because chances are it's just not. It's just not that. And we tend to get fooled. So and a period of time went by, I just started focusing on foods that were just single ingredient foods, like steak. Steak is single ingredient, hamburger single ingredient, eggs. Dill pickles works. That's keto friendly food. Dill pickles, cucumbers can be. Blueberries also works really great for ketosis. And it's also a fun little snack to have at times. I can eat a full 4-ounce flat of blueberries, not one single problem. I'm not gaining weight. I'm not triggering previous sugar addiction that wants me to get into something like a candy bar or other nonsense in the pantry. And throughout the week, I did expect to have, several days worth of discomfort, possible weird bowel movements from eating, Subway sandwich and also Papa John's pizza. It wasn't too bad. So on average, I experienced about a 3-day dip in how I feel overall. So if I eat off plan for a day or even on the weekend at times, I expect a 2 to 3 day dip to where I just don't feel great. I know I'm not going to be losing much weight, if any weight at all. So if I increase my activity, I could see more weight loss. But I'm a truck driver, so I don't see a whole lot of physical activity. So some of it comes and some of it goes. But now that I've started to at least do a meat-based diet, focus more on the carnivore type diet, get more serious with the carnivore diet, and I really am. It's a process to get our heads wrapped around something as serious and strict as just, that's all I'm going to do for the rest of my life, is eat just meats and fats. But as long as I'm just eating only meats and fats, I feel perfect the next day. I feel great. If I continue that through the weekends, and I tell people that are just getting started, hey, just do stuff for 5 days. This is how I got here. You know, I do 5 days a week. I'm going to do this all the way until Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I kind of do whatever I want because I like that peace of mind that I can do a little bit extra. If I want to go out to eat, me and the family just went out on a hike yesterday, which is the first hike of the year. It's Alaska. The temperatures are fine. They're kind of mild. It was overcast and cloudy. It wasn't raining, but we just took a random hike. I just loaded everybody up in the Jeep. We drove out to this one spot called the Alaska Botanical Gardens. Knew nothing about the location. According to the online application, it said they were open. Now, it's really not the right time of year to be going to an outdoor botanical garden in the first place. But we found a little sign when we found out the place was closed, and then there was this trail that goes all the way around the fence line. We didn't know how far it was, didn't care. We're like, and it said, you're allowed to walk your dogs on the outside of the fence. So we're like, oh, there's an established trail that we're allowed to walk on all the way around the property. Didn't know how far it was until I got back to the car and I figured out the mileage using my silly Pokemon Go app. But still, and Pokemon Go is another thing. I used to do a lot of Pokemon Go throughout the pandemic because, well, it's a pandemic. There wasn't much to do. We could stay in our cars and we were fine, but, you know, we'd get out and walk once in a while. But it was just one of those games that we played, and I still had it on my phone. And my Google Fit app, I have to start it up in order for it to work for what we're doing. So I had no way to track how far we're going. So I had already had my Pokemon Go app started in the beginning, and then I just started a new egg. So I used the kilometers off the egg from, you know, start to finish, which was 3.1 kilometers, just shy of 2 miles. So that was a good hike. The hike was on a well-established trail. We did not experience any animal encounters. We did find a person walking their dog and about the halfway point, and we asked her, like, hey, how far does this go? And she wasn't sure either. She was out there trying to figure it out for herself. But she was out there, looked like she was a nature type person that was always out in the woods. So we walked around this entire trail, and then we got back. The only discomfort I felt was right in my pelvis area. So inner thighs was starting to feel a little bit of discomfort. My hips were also a little bit funny feeling because I don't use that type of motion. Now, my doctor did tell me, he's like, hey, you got neuropathy. You want to work on that neuropathy type symptoms and issues. The best way to work on neuropathy is walk on unlevel ground that's not paved. So, you know, walking out in the woods on established trails on level ground really works well for people with neuropathy. My feet felt fantastic before and after this adventure. Now, when I got back to the car, you know, I was a little fatigued. I felt like the entire, you know, hike around was really, really nice because it was uphill, it was downhill, it was unlevel, it was squishy ground. We're walking on leaves, sticks, twigs, roots, all kinds of stuff to get out and around and back to the vehicle. But I felt fantastic. Now, the only child that I had complaining about this, now this is the funny one, is because she's a sugar addict. She's a sugar addict. She goes straight for the carbohydrates. She's always been the first one to want McDonald's fries. That's what she called it when she was a young kid. And this was something we always, you know, thought was cute at a period of time, you know, like, oh, McDonald's fries. I'm trying to get her away from those. And I'm also trying to get her because she feels better and she does better when she eats a lot more steak. So I did feed everybody. I cooked up 3 ribeye steaks. I ate one for myself. My wife and the children shared one for themselves, and they only eat until they're full. So I don't even think they completed a whole ribeye steak. But my wife feels better when she eats more meats and fats. My daughters do better. They also perform better in school when they eat more fatty red meats and eggs. You have to eat the eggs, though, the whole egg, not just the egg yolk, although there's a lot of benefits in the and the egg yolk. But, children are children. They're hard to switch and transition to all this stuff. So that's a process that we're still working on, is trying to improve. Even if we have overly processed type foods and snacks in the house, we just try to improve them the best we can, because you just don't want to slam the door on somebody, even yourself, when you're first getting started on a weight loss journey. Because I know I didn't. When I started, I didn't just slam the door, besides doing fasting, which is slamming the door technically. But when I wasn't fasting, I didn't know what to do afterwards. I had no idea. I was trying to figure out keto. Keto was super confusing, so I kept bouncing back and forth in between confusing keto information, because there's a lot out there. And then I couldn't find a really viable solution until one of the viewers just said, hey, you're already eating like a meat-based diet. Why don't you just try the carnivore diet? So I gave that a shot. Now, I started working with the carnivore diet, and I was just put off by it automatically, which is a normal response to anybody that knows nothing about the carnivore diet, which is an absolute normal response from anybody that knows absolutely nothing about the carnivore diet, because we weren't taught to eat only meats and fats. We were taught to eat vegetables. We were taught to eat kale, broccoli, cabbage, green beans, eat your veggies, have a salad before eating a dinner or after a dinner, or eat salad to lose weight. All of that was just utter nonsense. Technically not the most unhealthy idea, but it doesn't work for a lot of people, because most people don't know the proper way to eat vegetables. I'm sure the majority of the population doesn't even know how to properly wash their vegetables, and why it's important to wash their vegetables before they eat it. I don't have to do that with meat. If I get meat, I make sure it's fresh. I cook meat. I eat meat. I feel great. It's simple. It's simple as that. I want eggs. I cook eggs. I just add ghee. I add butter. I add bacon grease. I use beef tallow to cook my eggs. Simple. I eat that. I feel fantastic. Now, something else I noticed after doing that, 2 to 3 mile walk, or 2 mile walk, whatever, and I got back to the house, I wasn't super tired. I was able to get around the house, do some things, do some chores. It was getting close to 5, 6, 7 o'clock, in that range. That's usually when my day peters out anyways for my average work day. So I just went back to my bedroom, watched a movie for a while, and I wound up falling asleep until 5 o'clock this morning. Now, I was looking on Facebook, and I saw somebody talk about a post they made about body odor. And I thought it was kind of interesting, because I went on a long walk. We did a lot of sweating. We were out, and the first thing I did, I was like, I lifted my arm up, smelled my armpit, did a check, no odor whatsoever. Now, that was strange to me too, because early on when I started ketosis and fasting, I noticed a very, very big difference in my body odor and personal smell, and where smells come from. Use your imagination, because a lot of us experience strange odors, strange body odors. If you ran your finger behind your ear and smell it, your finger stunk, because you were losing and secreting a lot of nasty stuff. Comes out from behind your ears, comes out from inside your armpits, in your crotch region, your feet especially. Now, my feet don't stink anymore. My feet don't smell. My crotch area, no more odor. That's all gone. Armpits don't smell. And when I do have any odor, and this is why I thought it was interesting, is because when I season my steaks, I use garlic salt. I use Redmonds real garlic salt. It works amazing, tastes great. The only odor I have gotten while eating a meat-based diet, carnivore type diet, is either from going off plan, eating something with seed oils, or maybe some vegetables, something with oxalates, or that garlic smell from having garlic salt. So, and I was surprised. I smelled myself and I'm like, wow, I don't have even that slightest scent of garlic coming out, which is odd to me. So it sounds to me like since I ate my steaks prior to going on this walk, doing some exertion and sweating, that it pushed out basically all of that garlic smell, and it's gone. It was gone. I was like, wow, that's interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. But seriously, guys, it's so easy to lose weight with little to no exercise by just focusing on food alone, which was something I could never understand. I couldn't understand that right off the bat, because that was a debate I had with a close friend. I was like, How is a morbidly obese person supposed to just eat themselves healthy? Well, I didn't have the answer to that until now. It took me 2 years to come up with the answer to how to lose weight from a morbidly obese perspective without having to do a lot of strict fasting, because it's almost impossible to get somebody that's morbidly obese in line or even to consider the concept of not consuming food, because we're so addicted when we're morbidly obese. We're so addicted to carbs, we're addicted to sugar, we're addicted to things with seed oils, we're addicted to things in boxes, products, easy foods. The answer is so much simpler than all that. It's just eat more fatty red meats than you eat of anything else. 90-10 eating principle works. Everybody that I know that has tried a 90-10 eating principle has thrived. They're thriving right now. The people I know personally in my life that are doing this are doing fantastic. Some of them do experience weight loss stalls, which happen, but that's perfectly normal. But these are also people that aren't inclined to do just more serious type things unless they choose to do it for themselves, and that's how it should work. So if you want to do an egg fast for 3, maybe 5 days, just only eat eggs. You'll find some amazing benefits by just only eating eggs for a period of time. One, I have always lost weight only eating eggs. I don't do it all the time. I do it as a practice of just like, hey, I'm going to start bumping the numbers down, and I'm going to expect some numbers to drop if I'm just going to only eat eggs for 5 days. And then after I'm done eating the eggs, the maintenance comes in. That's where the maintenance plan comes in, of only eating fatty red meats. If you do go off plan, only go off plan just a little bit. And that's the hard part. Until you get to that point where you can control yourself, you can control the urges, of binge eating, like say chocolate chip cookies. That's one of my weaknesses. Chocolate chip cookies, pizza is always going to be one of my issues. Although I am starting to want to wean myself away from a lot of the pizza. Although it's probably never going to be 100% out of my life. Now, burritos, that's another thing. I love burritos. Breakfast burritos especially, because I can fill them full of as much protein as I want. And then I'm only worried about the carbs that are in the wrapper, which is really a non-issue at that point. If I have a gigantic burrito this big, full of meats and full of eggs. So that's a basic 90-10 type meal right there, is a big giant breakfast burrito. You just minus the vegetables and the hash browns. Simple, easy peasy. I mean, if you can handle some of the salsa, maybe some sour cream on it, okay, there you go. Or a little bit of that green chili sauce, I believe was on mine. And that works. That works well. You're not going to randomly gain weight. But now when I did weigh myself on Saturday morning, I was still right around, 262 pounds, right there. And since we went on that walk, now something I've noticed before is whenever I start exercising the next day, so I went on almost a 2-mile walk. I came back this morning. I did weigh myself on the scale because I was just curious. I was like, wow. So my weight bumped up, almost 2 pounds, and it bumps up for a reason. This is why we don't weigh ourselves every single day. I only do this just to see, okay, did that exercise make me gain some weight? And yes, it did. Now, the reason it made me gain a little bit of weight was because my body is not used to all that extra motion. If we're not used to exercising and we live a sedentary type lifestyle, but we just had some recent weight loss doing this or that or eating a certain way for a period of time, and then we start to add in the exercise, our body is confused at that point. It's like, whoa, dude, slow the heck down. What are you doing to me? It gets confused. So it's going to pack on some extra water weight, and that water weight is going to show instantly. So that little bit of extra exercise, my body was trying to hold on to some water because I'm out there, doing some physical activity. My body's sweating, so I'm losing some water there. But so in return, it's just going to want to hold on to what it's got. So if you're not out there consuming water, giving it enough water at the same time, which is just going to balance out your weight anyways. So yeah, that's just another thing to consider, because every time in this weight loss journey, I have put in extra effort and done some extra exercise, but I haven't made it a sustainable type thing. If I were to make it sustainable, do exercise every single day, which is something I'm getting ready to start doing because I want to start toning up some extra areas in the body. I also want to start toning up my legs a little bit by doing some more walking, maybe some push-ups to try to, you know, tighten up this flabby chest that I have. I'm not going to be, I got to find an alternative for the core, because I'm not going to be doing sit-ups anymore, ever, unless I have to like sit up out of bed, or, you know, if I'm on the ground working on their vehicle, you naturally have to do sit-ups. But that's how I injured my stomach. We still don't know what that injury is. It's a mystery injury. It still hurts. It's been hurting for what, 3, maybe 4 years now. The doctors don't know what it is. The only way that they could possibly check it is either, you know, stick a scope up my boohoo or stick a scope down my throat, because it could be coming from either end. They're just not sure. It's just on this side of the body right there, but it doesn't get worse. It only gets worse when I consume excess amounts of caffeine. So I just try to avoid caffeine. Now I'm going to have to work on quitting coffee. That's a hard one. I quit coffee for 3 days 1 week. I started feeling better, and in return, I found out that I was drinking 3 to 4 tall glasses of water in return. So I was getting more hydration at that point, which was great. But then, like, the 4th day, I just all of a sudden went right back to drinking coffee, just out of habit. And I was just sitting there with a cup of coffee. I already had a cup and a half, and I realized, I'm like, I just quit you, and I have you in my hand now, similar to smoking cigarettes. It's one of those things. You can quit for 1.5 years, and then all of a sudden you have a cigarette in your hand. Addiction is a hard one. It's a hard one to beat. But all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up right here. But hopefully I helped somebody out, and that's all I do. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up here, and hopefully I helped somebody out with my weight loss journey, my experiences, and our conversations. I try not to bore you guys to death, but this is real life. This is me living my life, trying to lose weight and share my adventure with you guys. So hopefully somebody can take away some of the information that I have and apply it in their life. And maybe it can be slightly different, or however works for you. But I just get sick and tired of when people say, well, everybody's different. We're not that much different. You know, when it comes to our biological makeup and the foods we're supposed to eat, we are not that far apart. I mean, really not. I mean, there are those one-offs, and it's literally that. There are one-off people out there that might be allergic to some meat-based protein, allergic to this or that. But those people are so few and far between. So let's not try to create problems for ourselves by believing certain things and what other people say all the time, because that is how I broke the code, and I figured out how to lose weight my own way with little to no exercise, and I maintain it by eating a minimum of a meat-based diet. If I want to get further benefits, I get more serious with the carnivore diet, and that's where I'm at today. So all right, guys, I just want you all to love your life, and hopefully I do see you in the next one.